The e-commerce industry is booming post-pandemic, with more business owners than ever making a move online and launching shops, aiming to convert browsers into buyers. These outlets are expected to meet consumers' changing expectations when it comes to credit, allowing Generation Z and millennial customers to spread out the cost of their purchases. However, companies need to make certain they can provide affordable lending to these customers, ensuring they won't cause financial harm to consumers, that they won't fall foul of incoming legislation or harm their reputations. At the same time, retailers need to avoid opening the door to increasingly innovative fraudsters, who are every day devising new ways to extract hard-earned cash from consumers as payment methods evolve. To further delve into these challenges, as well as possible solutions, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Teresa Byrne, Chief Commercial Officer, DivideBuy. Thanks for coming to the podcast, Teresa. It's really good you could spare the time to come and talk to us today.
Hi, good afternoon.
Just to jump straight in, so what do you think are the main challenges faced by small to large businesses when it comes to providing credit?
I think for me, providing credit solutions online at the checkout is a reasonably new market. And I'm now seeing a lot of shopping carts with so many ways to pay. I guess the first challenge I would see would be the confusion. Who should I use? From our perspective, when deciding what DivideBuy looks like at the checkout, we've really built our solutions with the retailer's options in mind. So we built our solutions that suit the retailer's needs and the consumer's needs, rather than one product that suits all. So I guess choosing a provider that suits your business model and gives you the right consumer experience is probably the first challenge they'll need to overcome.
So moving on, how can retailers ensure that they're providing credit in an ethical and a responsible manner?
At DivideBuy, this is sort of the center of what we do, but it's hugely important because the consumer is purchasing the goods from the retailer. So it's certainly a reflection on their business. I would certainly recommend that they understand all of the charges and fees and the term and conditions that come with their credit providers. So they understand the service that their consumers will be signing up for. Also, what happens to their data? At DivideBuy, we no longer charge any fees to our consumers, whether that be late fees or administration fees. And also, if our consumers reach out to us to say they're in financial difficulty, we've got a really solid vulnerability program where we support them, because what we don't want to do is make that financial problem worse. We really want to support them through the process. So really, it's making sure that the credit provider you sign up with delivers credit in an ethical and responsible manner. And they're all very different from what I can see.
Yeah, no one retailer faces the same challenges as another retailer. Every organization has a different customer base, different set of demographics, and they all need to ensure that they're lending money ethically, because it won't look good on their part if they're bringing people into debt and if they're not doing so responsibly.
I think you hit a really great point then, because what we have seen is two retailers that simply online look like they sell the same products and services. Actually, the demographic that they actually sell their products to is very different. So I do think there is a lot on the retailer to understand where they are selling their goods and how they protect those and how they service for those consumers.
So moving on. So all of these companies are trying to implement buy now, pay later. They're having to do it sometimes at scale and at speed. But how can they ensure that they minimize the risk of fraud when implementing flexible credit?
We have in place fraud tool and checks along our customer journey to make sure that the goods that are being purchased are going to the correct addresses to the consumer that should be purchasing them. And we make sure that any fraudulent activity would be picked up during that journey. Hence, when the payment is made, it's declined. And then when you embrace that with what we've done with 3DS version 2, many have embraced it. We made sure we were really ready for that because we see the importance of making sure that e-com fraud is reduced. However, for those that don't work with DivideBuy, if I was to say to a retailer, what things should you be thinking about? The obvious things like site security audits, just looking for suspicious activity, inconsistent order data, customers that are purchasing large or maybe multiple orders, different shipping addresses, multiple transactions in short timeframes. I think they are the critical things the retailers should be watching their websites for. But making sure that your store is PCI DSS compliant and continues scanning your website for malware. It's something that we really need to be diligent on, for sure.
It's something that everyone in the industry needs to be diligent about, because it's a constantly moving goalpost, and it's a moving target. Because even since the beginning of the pandemic, the way cyber criminals have approached fraud has evolved and advanced dramatically. I mean, it's just a completely different ball game than it was in, say, 2019. The methods are just so much more advanced.
Absolutely.
So we all know that the expectations when it comes to customer experience have just skyrocketed over the past few years. So what do you think that retailers can do to ensure that consumers have a good level of customer experience when they're buying products on credit?
It's really down to them choosing the right finance provider to suit their business needs. My counsel would be, don't select your finance partner at price. Look at all of the services they provide and how that matches your business requirements. And focus more around what will that finance partner bring to your business? Will it drive more conversions, more profitable sales? And how will your consumer be treated as it goes through the finance journey? Because consider, in some cases, your finance partner will have interactions with your consumer for circa 24 to 36 months. So it's incredibly important that you understand that customer experience throughout that finance term. For DivideBuy, we make all of our business decisions with the consumer at the heart of it. And that helps us make sure that our consumer experience is in line with what our retail expectations are.
Yeah, and it's become a necessity more than a want on the part of businesses. I mean, if you don't provide a completely optimal level of customer experience and they're not really pushing the boundaries, like someone else will.
I completely agree.
So looking towards the future, what do you think that retailers can expect to see in the upcoming regulation covering consumer credit?
Yeah, I think from the upcoming regulation, we really don't know what that's going to look like. And we know that it's been driven very much around by the shorter term, buy now, pay later space. But really, we're embracing it. We are embracing regulation. And at this moment in time, it's safe to say that we're self-regulating. We're already behaving as though we operate within a regulated market. For us, our focus is on ethical and affordable lending. And I've said a number of times, the consumer has to be in the heart of that. So we are ready to embrace regulation in whatever way that it comes, and want to continue to build out our business in light of that regulation to make sure we're doing the right things for the consumer and the retailer.
So, yeah, I think from a regulatory point of view, one of the main things that businesses need to keep in mind is, as long as they're not doing anyone any harm, and they're not doing anything which seems immoral and could hurt consumers, it's likely that they will end up staying on the right side of the law. And if you abide by that, things have a tendency to work out.
Absolutely.
So thanks for that, Teresa. I think that'll be a good and interesting podcast for all listeners. So if they want to learn more about DivideBuy, where would you send them?
Just reach out to our website, dividebuy.co.uk, and we'll be in touch. We'd love to hear from all of your listeners. We really would.